All right, what's going on, guys? So I'm Oakley. We're gonna do a little bit of a live Q&A with chat. If you guys have any other questions, like I said, you can bring those up. Just tag me in chat, and I will try to go over them with as much time as I have. I have about 40 minutes, so we'll try to keep it close to that as best as possible. So let's go over the first question. How do you identify key levels and then use that information to enter and exit a trade? So a super good question. I've went over this many times, but I can show you really quick how we did it. I believe it was with AMD. Yes, AMD this morning. So let's delete some of these. You can do this a couple different ways. If you like to trade the 5 minute, you're welcome to stay on the 5 minute. Sometimes that's not the best, just because there's a couple different reasons. But anyway, I like to do this on the 1 hour and the 4 hour chart. But for time's sake, I already have this level and I already have it planned out on the 5 minutes. So we'll roll with that. So the way that I find significant levels and how I use them to enter and exit trades is this right here. So you kind of just scroll back through your chart. I like to use the dotted line on my thing here as a reference point, and I kind of just move it up and down throughout the chart and look to where I can find a place where the stock has risen up and rejected and then pushed back down, or the opposite, pushed down and then was supported and rose back up. This morning on AMD, we did find this level right here. And so we did this, like I said, just by kind of like putting our mouse and the dotted line there on the screen, and we found this level here, right? This level goes across. It's supported right here. Even though it did break under support, it tried to stay above right there. You can see with that green candle, it pushed down. Let me go to an arrow. It pushed down and then rose back up, and then eventually did lose that. But for the most part, it did try to hold that level. And then same thing here, right? So look how many times it bounced on that level. This day is a little different. There was apparently bad news. I don't know exactly what happened on this day, but there was some bad news. A lot of things tanked on Thursday last week. Anyway, same thing here. This was yesterday on AMD. So again, there's another one of those. So as we zoom out, we can see, 4 specific times the stock was supported or rejected that level. And then you could have played actually both directions on AMD today. We were talking this morning prior that you could play the run upward, so kind of this direction. You could have played that this morning up to this level. You could have played the rejection off this level. Both would have been good trades. And then currently, where we're sitting at right now, we are right on that support level. So depending on your bias on the market, either bullish or bearish, you could play this level. The AMD is supported on this level. It's rejected off this level. My personal bias for this current situation in AMD would be bullish. We're over the support level. We have some form up above. This isn't our highest we've ever been. So there is some more, if you scroll out, you can probably find more support somewhere throughout this chart. So that's how I would use it. That's how you find it, at least, and that's also how I would use the information to enter a trade. When it comes up to the level, if it doesn't get over it and close, then you can play the push back down, and then vice versa. If it comes down to that level and holds it, you can play the position back up. So that is how I use key levels, and that's how I use them to enter and exit a trade. So we're going to go ahead and delete that one. Okay, so this one says, how many confluences do you need to enter into a play? So I believe what they're trying to say here is like, how many of my things need to line up before I'm okay with entering a trade, whether that be... Actually, let's come back to that, because I believe somebody asked what what type of confluences I use or indicators. So we'll come back to that one. So let's just remember that. So let's go on to this one. What is happening psychologically in your mind within your play trades, like thoughts, emotions, etc.? So for the most part, you really have to try your best to be, I don't want to say emotionless, because I think it's an overplayed thing in the stock trading market. You don't exactly want to be emotionless, because losing money is not fun. You do want to have some feeling towards that. I do understand that sometimes when you're in these types of trades, the money doesn't feel real, because it's some like silly internet money that you might not ever see again. And with that, you do get kind of emotionless, and I don't think that's for the best. You do want to be excited. You want to be excited to enter a trade. You don't want to be overly excited just to find something, but once you do find that perfect setup or whatever it may be, you do want to be excited. Your trades should get you going. They should get your heart rate up. They should get you feeling good, because you found something that fits your rules perfectly. And so with that, my psychology, everything that's going through my mind, I try to stay pretty level-headed. I find the trade that gets me excited. I look for the best entry based on all of my indicators and things like that. And then once I enter the trade, at that point you kind of have to be hyper focused on your emotions. So if things drop too far too fast, a lot of us mentally will just check out. We will just turn our brains off. We'll say, you know what, we'll get the next one, but we don't sell. We're like, well, maybe it'll come back. Maybe, maybe this, maybe that. That's not the way to do things. Before you ever enter into a trade, you want to have like a max stop loss. Before you ever even enter into the trade, you want to get into that and say, I'm willing to lose $20. I'm willing to lose $200. But whatever that amount is, you need to have that set before you ever enter into the trade. That way that if something does go wrong quickly, you know where you're at in the position. You're not holding on to something longer than you should. So you do need to be hyper-focused on your emotions. I don't think this is an emotionless game that we play. I do think you should be excited for your trades, and I think you should be hyper-focused on what you're feeling in the moment when you do enter a trade. So there is that. I think that answered that pretty good. Let's see. Okay, so this one says, how do you feel about trades when your targets aren't met? Like the stop loss didn't hit, but neither did your price target. The price kind of stays stagnant. What do you normally do when it's choppy, or the choppy action, or we'll wait for some sort of confirmation or indication? So for the most part, this one's going to be day to day. It just kind of depends. If my stop loss isn't met, I don't get out of the trade. I know, like I said with number 2, I know how much I'm willing to lose before I ever get into the trade, right? So if my stop loss isn't hit, I'm willing to stay in the trade no matter what. As far as price targets, we'll get into this. Yes, Monica, to answer your question, I would end up swinging it if it never hit my price target, as long as everything else was pointed in the right direction. Sorry, I was reading chat, getting distracted. Okay, so like I said, if my stop loss doesn't hit, then I'm not going to sell. I will continue to swing that play as long as it's not a zero. If most of you are in VIP, so if you know my style of trading, I am an intraday trader. I don't like to swing trades, so normally my stop losses will either hit during the day or we'll end up selling for a profit. I don't swing too much, so yeah, I would swing it if I had to, Monica, but that's never the plan normally. As far as price targets, like I said, if stop losses don't hit, I'm not going to sell. With price targets, I don't use them. I don't use price targets. I never have. I don't think I ever will. mentally it doesn't work for me. I can have an upper level where I want the stock to go to, but that's not really a price target for me. I'm okay because when I'm buying contracts, I'm looking normally for like a percentage. If we continue to run, great. If we don't run, cool. That's just kind of part of it. And so with that, I don't set PTs. So if we don't hit a PT, fine. That's normal. What would I normally do if it was choppy or stagnant? Same thing. If I've not met my number that I would like to meet in that trade, then I'm going to hold on to it. If it doesn't hit my stop loss, I'm going to hold on to it. I don't mind to wait through the chop, as long as the PA is good, the price action is good, and my technical analysis is still within where I want the trade to be. So don't sell if your TA isn't broken, right? So if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just wait. Be patient. Okay, let's jump around a little bit here. So this is an easy one because that last one was really long-winded, and I don't want people to think that that's how all of these are going to be, right? So how do you identify a stock to focus on each day that has good price action? Well, I can tell you really quick. I have a watch list on TradingView, and unless someone in chat or I read something on Twitter or whatever it may be for like another stock, let's say Lululemons, right? That's been the talk of the town this week with earnings and everything. Like Lulu is not on my list. I don't look at Lulu ever, but because it's been a hot topic both in chat and over on Twitter, I played Lulu this week, but I didn't look. It's not on my list. I think I have right at 30 stocks on my watch list, which I think is the max that you can have on TradingView right now without paying for it, which, I guess we all have our own opinions on that. But this is all I do. I have a watch list. I try my best to sort them. It's like you see Amazon up here. Amazon doesn't belong up here. Amazon belongs down here by Baba. Roblox does not belong up here. Roblox belongs somewhere down here with tech. We'll just toss it under Meta. So if I enter into a trade, like if I jumped into Meta puts right now, right, I would move Meta to the top. That's just how I do things. But yeah, for the most part, if I'm looking for stocks that have, how do I identify a stock to focus on? Right there, man. Don't overcomplicate it. There's like 2,000 or more stocks on the stock market. Like you're never going to be able to watch them all. You shouldn't be trying to watch them all. That's how you're going to get overwhelmed. That's how you're going to end up over trading. There's no sense in it. Find a good set of stocks that you like to trade, and that's it. Just leave it at that. You can go through all of these stocks pretty quick just with your arrow keys and figure out, kind of like what's going on in the market. Not too difficult. Don't overcomplicate things. We like to make things simple here, not more difficult than they have to be, because trading is already hard. So, all right. So moving forward, how much does news affect PA? I see some people say that it's just noise and to focus on the charts and resistance and support. So, yes, normally it is just noise, and you should just focus on your charts. But there are some news things that you should watch out for. So if you guys don't know, this is the economic calendar that I use here. This is Daily FX. I am a U.S. resident, but we don't have to tell them that. So this is what you can use. In the next 7 days, we only have, one. Sorry, guys. I thought I had the office to myself today, and I do not. So they've just been listening along. So anyway, as I was saying, this is what I use. So we don't have any heavy news here in the next 7 days. And for the most part, you can see that these come out like, relatively close to market open. Sometimes they're later. But with Daily FX, the way that I have it set up is by importance, high, medium, and low. And it's like there's a ton of news, right? There's 39 low impact news in the next 7 days, 14 in the medium range, but there's only one in the high range of severity, right? So I just keep mine filtered to high. I don't look at anything else, and with that, that's kind of how I look at it. I don't play much news. If I see news is coming up, I normally wait until after. I'll wait until after the news is gone or over with, and then I'll kind of just, look at charts for the most part. I don't like playing news. It's too volatile. It's too hard to digest. Even in the moment, sometimes bad news is good news, and that just sucks, right? Because you see that the news is bad, you play puts, and then the market just rips. It doesn't make any sense. So I would stay away from playing news unless you're a gambler, which is fine. News does affect price action, and I do think you should just focus on charts. Don't worry too much about news. Be mindful of when news is coming out. And then, be mindful of when news is coming out so that you can exit a trade if you're in one, or wait to enter a trade until after the news is passed. So, all right. Okay, and that kind of leads into the next one. When we do have news that week, how can we identify if it's bullish or bearish news, and how could it affect the market? Again, you don't know. It like this morning, right? We just looked. Let's go back and just pull that up really quick just so we're all on the same page. So like news for today, right? Non-farm payrolls. They were up, right? That's good. That means people out, like we are paying people more, right? Salaries are up. That's good. That means there's more money to go around. But at the same time, unemployment was also up from 3.5 to 3.8, which means we have less people with jobs. Maybe that's why we're paying people more. I don't know. This is good news. This is bad news. ISM manufacturing is up, just barely, but it's up. That's good. That means we're producing more items. So you have two good news and one bad news. What does that mean for the market? Well, if we look at SPY, it was not good. Even though we had two good news and one bad news. It apparently seems that unemployment is more important than the other two. But you would never know that, and that's not exactly how it goes. Unemployment comes out every month. Sometimes even when unemployment is up, so is the market. So don't play news is what I'm trying to say. You can if you want to, but I think you're gambling, and I would advise against it. So that's how I would play that. Let's see. Oh, okay. Well, so this one's pretty good, and it went along with kind of what we said earlier in this whole thing. It seems that some of these are kind of overlapping. I maybe should have filtered them a little bit, but that's okay. So let's say you take a loss on a trade, but then the play goes against, and you're stopped out on your stop loss. How do you deal with that emotionally and mentally? So again, it's not too hard, because we know prior to us ever entering into the trade how much we're willing to lose. So it doesn't hurt anymore if it hits my stop loss or if I make money. I have a target that I would like to meet on the upside. I'd like a target to meet on the downside. And if I hit that target to the upside, I'm pretty happy. If I hit my target to the downside, I'm pretty indifferent, because I'm willing to lose that amount of money no matter what, right? That is what I'm willing to lose throughout the day. So I try not to let losses pull me down. But that's because before I ever enter, I already know how much I'm willing to lose. So if you put $1,000 into a trade and you tell yourself, I'm only willing to lose 150, if for some reason you turn your brain off and you let that run to minus 500, you're not going to be in a good mood. It's going to affect everyone else in your life. It's going to affect you mentally. It's going to affect, your health even, because you're going to be down in the dumps, maybe, all kinds of different things. Set your stop loss first. It's the first thing you should do. Set that stop. And then you're not upset because having a red day is not fun. It sucks losing money, but at least it's an amount that you are okay with losing. It's like, you walk into Chipotle, you're willing to spend $12 on a burrito. If it ends up being $8, okay, that's cool. You only lost $8, but you were willing to lose 12. So kind of a good way to think about it. Now, if it's 15, you're going to be like, what the heck? Why is it 15 instead of 12? Kind of the same idea. You don't want to lose more than you're willing to lose. So be smart, set a stop loss, and then just be indifferent towards your losses because you were prepared, and then be excited for your wins. Okay, here's a pretty good one. When you're in a play, how much percent are you looking to get? For example, when you scalp, swing, or intraday, what would be a reasonable and solid percent profit to always take? So this is very dependent on the size of your portfolio, right? Depending on how many contracts you're able to buy, how much you're willing to lose. All of this is very, very dependent on the size of your portfolio. I have to believe that most of you in here, with no disrespect, are trading with less than $10,000. It's just an assumption, right? Because I'm a VIP trader. I kind of cater towards the smaller portfolios. I know some people are not in that boat, but for the most part, most of us are buying like 1, 2, maybe 5 contracts at the most, right? So with that being said, if I'm looking for a percent, it is anywhere from 10 to 20. 10 to 20% on a trade is what I'm looking to get. If I'm buying, let's assume I buy 5 contracts, right? At 10%, I'm probably selling 3 of them. At 20%, I'm selling 2 of them. And then I will allow the third to run as high as it wants to, but I will let it fall no more than 10%, right? So at that point, I would have sold 3 for, I can't count. Let's say I sold 1, or I would sell 3 at 10, 1 at 20, and then 1 I would allow to run. And then if it comes back to 10%, I would take it there. So I don't want it to fall below 10%, but it can run as high as it wants to. Now, the more contracts that you buy, the more fun you can have with stuff like that, right? Let's say you have 100 contracts. Maybe you went all in, right? You have 100 contracts. Well, then you can start taking maybe 20 at 10%. You can take another 20 at 20%. You can take 20 at 30%. And you can kind of scale out of the trade as the market goes up. But for me personally, dealing with smaller accounts, helping smaller accounts grow, I really like the 10 to 20% range. And I'm not, if I only have 1 to 3 contracts, I'm selling them all. Right, I'm selling them all for 10 or 20%, and then I'm out. I'm not worried about it. If it continues to run, fine. We don't care. We made our profit. We're moving on. Opportunity loss is I've explained it a couple times in chat today. Opportunity loss is the hardest thing to deal with in this market. In the game that we play with trading stocks, opportunity loss is the hardest thing to deal with. It is harder to deal with than losing money. I mean, it is the worst. If you wake up one day and let's say you made $500, right? And then you sold because you were happy with that. But if you would have waited an hour longer, maybe you would have had $5,000, right? That hurts. That is unbelievable pain that you're going to feel in your stomach. Because, if you're taking profits at $5,000 is probably going to make a significant difference in your life, right? And so it hurts in your stomach, and it's not fun, but it's something you have to learn to deal with. That emotionally is harder to deal with than losses. So just be happy with all the profits you make. I think that, a great saying is green, profits are profits. You're still making money and you can compound it. from day one into the future. So that's where I'm at. 10 to 20% is what I'm looking for, and then I try to scale out accordingly if I have multiple contracts. But if not, that's it. I do see it a lot. Some days, we see people in chat that have like $150 trading account. I would hope that those people are taking those $5 and $6 gains and selling. That's the best way to do it. Just keep moving forward. $5, $6, it adds up over time. You just have to be patient. No one is becoming a millionaire overnight trading stocks unless you get lucky, and we don't do that here. We create our own luck because good things come to people who are patient. So with that, we take it day by day. Don't swing for the fences. Size accordingly. Scale in and out. You'll be fine. All right, so let's see. Let's just start with number 4 there. How does your strategy or approach change when determining the type of play you're entering? Meaning, what differences do you take and approach when looking at a swing play, a scalp, an intraday trade? What would trigger a play to be a swing versus strictly an intraday versus scalping? So, all of these rules apply to every single type of trade, right? It's like all the things that I have posted in my channel as far as patterns, all of the EMA clouds, all of the volume profiles that we've used that we went over in the last video. Those things work for everything. I just personally, I'm an intraday trader, right? Like that's what I'm good at. You have to kind of, I don't want to say pick your poison, right? But you have to, there's so many different styles of trading within the market that you can't be good at them all. There's no sense in trying to be good at them all. What you need to do is pick a style, stick to that style, learn everything you can about that style, and then perfect it, right? And so for me, I don't like swing plays. Like, yeah, we took the one on Exxon last week, but that was more or less by luck, right? We could have sold on Friday. I only have one contract left. And this for the same reason, like we just talked about in the last little bit, like I sold most of my contracts at 10%. I sold even more of them at 20%. And then I left one. I had one contract of Exxon left that I still have. It was at 350% this morning, right? That's luck. I didn't know if something was going to happen with Exxon this week. I didn't expect it to go up to 112 when I bought 108 calls, right? I wasn't expecting that. Intraday, I saw a good pattern, and I traded it intraday. Excuse me. So yeah, I traded it intraday. That I saw the pattern around like 9 o'clock. I made the trade, and I just rode the last one out. It never came back down to that 10%, and I'm going to let it expire today at whatever it's at because I don't think it's coming back down to 10%. So, yeah, don't overcomplicate things, man. Just find something you're good at and be the best at it, If I don't know. I don't know anything about basketball, but I know Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter, right? I assume. I'm just, throwing darts at the board here. But I assume Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter, right? Do you think Steph Curry works day in and day out at dunking? Do you think he's in the gym every day trying to dunk the ball? No. He's out there trying to shoot threes, get better at threes. He's a three-point shooter. That's who he is. That's what he's good at, and he perfects it. He makes it better, and that's how trading should be. Like, if my thing is intraday trading, you're not going to see me on the 1 hour, or I'm sorry, on like the 1 day or the 5-day chart or even the monthly chart trying to scope out big giant swing plays. That's not me. It's not what I do. And so nothing, to answer this question, nothing in my approach is different. I just happen to take intraday trades, and then sometimes they continue to run for big gains. So nothing changes. A scalp is a scalp based on, how fast it happens, I guess. The pattern is the pattern. It's only a scalp when it happens fast, right? But an intraday play is just a longer scalp. A day trade is just an even longer intraday trade. So nothing changes. Stick to your trading plan. And don't overcomplicate it. So pretty simple. All right. What is your go-to strategy or setup is your go-to whenever you really need a win? Nothing changes. like I just said, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. What indicators of movement, direction, momentum do you take place the most value in a confluence to enter a trade, support, resistance, breakout, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So with this, I have a whole video. I'll link it down below this one. I'm not going to go over this one because I have a whole video up over how I trade and like all the technicals that I use. I just uploaded it like last Friday, right? So this is video number 2 for me. So with that said, go back and watch that video. That will answer this question, and then I promise you nothing changes. All of my strategies that I use are my go-to. I don't try some crazy, like, I know I give ICT a really hard time, right? But I'm not throwing up some crazy order block or some like 15-minute bearish cockadoodle. I don't know what words they use, but I'm not doing that, right? All of my strategies are my go-tos. None of them work better than others. They're all good. So go back and watch that video if you want the answer to number 3, because it's like 30 minutes long. I don't want to get back into a 30-minute video when we've already been running for like 45. So, okay. And then I guess that kind of answers this one too. How many confluences do I need to get into a trade? It's a really hard thing to predict, right? So, like, because I have VWAP here, I have EMA, that I can filter on and off, and I also have volume profile. Most of the time these two stay off. I've just been using EMA for the most part, and a couple other things that we talk about in that other video. But I really only need. That's a tough one. I really want flow, which if you watch the other video, you understand. I really want flow pretty green and moving to the upside, while puts are trailing off. So I want them diverging, going different directions. That's a good place to enter calls, or vice versa for puts. So I want a pretty good divergence, calls to puts, and then I would like to either break a significant level, reject a significant level, or fall into a pattern. So really, I guess just 2. You could go with 3 if you wanted to use Gex levels to the upside or to the downside, depending on what direction you want to play, right? So you could go for 3, which 3 would probably be the best, right? So make sure it fits your pattern. Make sure flow is in your direction that you're looking for. And then look for a Gex level that is also in the direction you're looking for. So pattern, flow, Gex level. That's what I like to do. We'll call it 3. All right, last question, guys. And then if anybody has anything that they want to jump in and ask, I'll try to touch on that. We're a little over on time, but I'll do my best. Okay. So let's see. Well, I assume that's say. Let's say you're looking at a trade, but you're waiting for the right entry, perhaps waiting for price to touch a support or resistance level. However, it does not precisely touch. But it does get close. Do you still enter the trade? What's going on in your head when you are willing to take a higher entry price for a trade? Okay, let's look at AMD. I think that's a good one, right? So with AMD, let's delete this. So let's say it gets close to a support or resistance level, but maybe it goes over. Maybe it never reaches there, right? So with AMD, this is a perfect example. This is that resistance level that we found earlier that we talked about, right? It actually blew straight past this, and it closed above, right? It closed above our support level, which typically would indicate that we're good to go. We closed over our level. We are now moving to the upside. And then what happens? We fall straight down, right? We fall straight down to the downside, even though everything was pointing us to, upside here. This was saying upside. So to answer that question, if it doesn't get there, just wait. Just wait. You know what your levels are. You know that is the resistance, right? You've done them. I don't want to say you've done the math, but you've done the research. You've done all the back end work to know that level is significant. Now, we don't need to know why that level is significant. There's no sense in that, right? Who cares? Who cares why the level is significant? As long as we know that it is, great. So if it doesn't get to your support or your resistance level, don't make the trade. Don't do it. There's no sense. There are 1,000 different stocks in the stock market, and there are 1,000 different trades to take per day. Make sure you stick to your trading rules no matter what, right? So what goes on your head when you're willing to take a higher price? Now, I do this sometimes where I'm willing to take a higher price. Like maybe I got in a little late. This really only happens with my alerts, right? So I don't even know if I'd be able to show you accurately, but sometimes like I'll call out an alert. Like let's say we rejected off of a significant level, right? And I tell everyone, like, hey, I'm willing to get into this at this price, and let's say it's like $1, right? So $1 on an option, that's what I would like, and then I check back like 2 seconds later, and it's like 106, right? Like that's a 6% change, and that's pretty good. But as long as my TA pans out, I might tell people, hey, it's okay to get in around like 110, right? So 110 may be a pretty good price as well. Even though that's 10% over my entry, I'm still okay because I believe based on TA, it's going to continue to run to like 120, 130, etc. So yeah, that's that's kind of what's going on in my head. You just have to be patient, trust your TA, trust your trading plan. That's what we got going on. So yeah, don't if it doesn't touch your level, man, you can do one of two things. You can readjust your level, go back historically on the chart, make sure that you do have that level just perfectly where it needs to be, and then and then if it doesn't get there, don't trade it. So I apologize, guys. This is probably the longest I've talked in like 10 years. So anyway, so yeah, if it doesn't touch your level, don't trade it. Adjust your levels if need be, but trust them. You have to trust them. You've worked hard. You know what you're doing. Even if you don't know what you're doing, it's great learning. I still preach, paper accounts for probably the first year of trading, so you really learn what you're doing and what's going on, and it's kind of important. So paper accounts, learn everything you can, and then start using your own money. So anyway, guys, I will, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type them out there in the voice chat, and I'll answer like maybe one or two if we have some questions. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off here. I believe like the first half of this recording was like 28 minutes before somebody walked in. So I see a couple people typing, so I'll wait on you guys. And for people not in the Discord, take a look at what we're doing over here, guys. Right? We got all kinds of love being shown in the Discord. So we'll take some questions. Wyatt, I see you typing there. If you have a mic, you can also just hop on and ask. I don't mind. Oh, right on. That's a great question. So, I think my face cam. Oh, let me see if I can move that. Oh, I'm new to OBS. Okay, I think that moved me. All right. Anyway, so Wyatt asked, how long did it take you to learn and become a profitable day trading? Okay, so I've been day trading for 12 years. I've been profitable for about 10 of them. Yep. So that doesn't mean that I can tell you my first year trading, I was not profitable. I don't think anybody ever is, unless you seek a lot of help. you take on, multiple mentors, things like that, you're probably not going to be profitable your first year. And if you are, the chances of you being lucky are pretty high. Trading is hard. There's a lot of things that go into it. So my first year, I definitely wasn't profitable. I think for my second year, I was probably just slightly profitable. I did have a pretty bad year in 2019, but I think we all did. Heading into COVID, I think everybody had a pretty bad year, but then coming out of it, we all did great. So, yeah. All right, VS stocks. If you are typing a question, that'll be my last one I take, and then I'm gonna hop out, guys, because I'm gonna make that other video. You guys voted on a video over how to or when to enter and when to exit trades. So I will be making that. So technically, majority of the trades the team makes here is close to the same day. I don't want to say a majority, but I do want to say yes. Yeah, probably. SPY, QQQ. I think Alex plays IWM. I think those all have same day expirations. Some of us play them differently than others. I will just tell you, the market is not as kind as it was a couple years back, right? And so what we get kind of stuck with is that even if TA is telling you that, let's say Amazon is supposed to go to 130 this week, it may shoot up to 128 on a Monday and then be back down to like 117 on a Tuesday. It's just, this market is very volatile. It's very hard to keep track with. So intraday trades just seem to work the best. I will tell you, like, Brit has been putting out tons and tons and tons of charts on Twitter every night, and they are more long-term based, not ultra long-term, like maybe 1-2 weeks tops. But yeah, if you're not into the intraday trading type of play style, then check out Brit's Twitter. I believe it is Bullish Brit over on Twitter, or X, whatever you call it now. So yeah, with that, okay, so if it's not same day expiration, or at least if it is a week expiration, should we wait? Sometimes we don't see the update about the holding trade. So yeah, VS stock. So that, again, that goes into your own personal, like how you're feeling, right? Like what we do here is we do alert, right? Like that's what a lot of people pay for, is like the alerts. But it's honestly something that we're trying to move away from as a team. Like, we will always still do alerts, don't get me wrong, right? But we don't want it to be our main focus. Like, I want to be able, like, through these videos that I'm putting out, through the videos that Zinc puts out and A-Main as well, the things that we're putting out, we really want people to learn. Like, the business model we have at Oasis is actually a failing one, and it's for the best reason possible. We want you to join our group, learn as much as you can, be able to do this all on your own, and then, it's kind of like a mama bird watching her baby birds fly away, right? Like, we don't expect you to stay with Oasis forever. We don't. We expect you to be here for a while, and then learn as much as you can, and then go on your own way and do it yourself. And then when you are very successful, you may ask, somebody might ask you, where did you learn to do this? And then you tell them Oasis Alerts, and then they come here, and then we continue to grow in that fashion. So that's kind of our plan. Like, so you're saying we don't see the update about holding the trade. No, you're not going to see an update about holding the trade, because my risk tolerance is different than your risk tolerance. I might have bought 100 contracts. You might have bought 5. If I sold them at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, well, there you go. That's all of yours. But I might still have 30 contracts, So everyone is going to be a little bit different. And like I said earlier, I like to sell in 10 to 15%, and then if I have one contract left over, I'll let it run as long as it wants to, and then if it ever gets back to 10%, I'll sell it. So anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to call this. This is we're right at 30 minutes on this recording, and I think we were close to that in the first half. So this is going to take my computer like 16 years to update or upload this to YouTube. So should be fun. But anyway, I am going to hop off of here. I'm going to go record that other video. That'll be up later today. So yeah, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. We had like 30, 35 people in here, I think at the most. Next time we will have more. We'll continue these Q&As. I'll probably do, I don't know if I'll do weekly. Weekly is kind of hard, but maybe monthly Q&As. So if you guys have questions, make sure you save them or send them to me. I can always answer DMs. That's another thing. If you shoot me a question on Discord, I will reply back. Like, it may not be as in depth as like what this video has been, but I will reply back to you as best I can, or maybe I'll send you a video or, you know, something like that you can watch and learn to answer your question. So, alrighty guys, thank you again for hanging out with me. If you guys had a good time, you know, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys more than you realize. So thank you. I'll see you guys next week. See ya.